Lee.
And good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our August 6, 2024 agenda session for the Cumberland County Board of Commissioners. Hope everybody's not waterlogged just yet, but we will be dealing with that too in a minute. So, Commissioner Booth, they changed this thing. We go on the fly. Commissioner Booth, if you would do the invocation and the pledge for us.
Thank you, sir. Heavenly Father, especially at these times, please keep your watchful hand over all of us. Assure all those people out there that are working to keep us safe, they're kept safe. Let us meet today, do it as in the best interest of all the citizens of Cumberland County. In your name we ask this every day. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good job.
So that will take us to the approval of the agenda. If I can add well, we're not doing a closed session, so we can take that off and add a 6, which is basically a state of emergency. We would deal with that. All right, with that addition.
I move we not have a state of emergency. But if we're going to have it, let's declare it.
That's right. If I can get a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
With that addition.
Second.
It's been moved and second. All those in favor?
Unanimous.
All right. That will take us to the 2024 Annual Recovery Plan Report. Mr. Manager.
Yes, Todd Vaught, Chief of Staff, will be presenting this item, and he has 2 presenters that will provide an overview of the annual report.
So why we got Mr. Vaught then?
Me, Mr. Vaught.
Oh, in the balls, okay.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners.
Good afternoon.
Today, you see at your places, we've put down our physical copy of our annual plan. The Department of U.S. Treasury requires that each recipient of SRF funds submit an annual recovery plan, which basically encompasses all the work that's been done with ARPA funds up to that current period. So for the past 3 years, we've followed that template that they provide, and this year we were blessed to have interns on staff to assist us in improving that document. And so today I have with me Miss Tara Smith, who is a rising sophomore at North Carolina A&T University. And I also have Mr. Jackson Bryant, who will be attending Morehouse College beginning this fall. And so they're going to assist me with presenting this item today.
Ooh, what a handsome guy. Let's get this thing started. I like you already, young lady. I tell you what, it'll give you a raise already. You're part of Mr. Vaught's salary.
Look at the miracles they can do with AI.
Touche, I tell you.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. As Ty stated, for the last 3 years, this annual recovery report has been created. However, this year we've decided to add additional sections to fully describe what our county is doing with these funds. So number 1, we have a section entitled From the Desk of. We would like to thank Commissioner Adams for supplying us with this letter that shows exactly what the county is doing and our intentions with these funds. Next, we have an acknowledgement section so that we can give credit where credit is due. And then we also have a more in-depth project inventory. The project inventory is something that has been included for the past 3 years, but this time we have included the small businesses that have been helped, the nonprofits, and the ARPA-enabled projects. So, as interns, we've considered different ways that we could improve upon this report, And so we've developed some areas of focus, the first one being attention. We want to make sure that we can gather the attention of the county residents so that they can read this report in its entirety. We also have a focus of layout so that it can be creative layouts to, again, garner that attention. We also wanted to use imagery to further emphasize all the things the county is doing. And then we also want to make sure that this report is accessible. This way it's easily readable and understood. So, this is the first section of the report, the executive summary. Here we give a quick overview of what the state and local fiscal recovery funds are, our intentions with their usage, and our progress in doing so. So in summary, Cumberland County has received a total of $65 million in coronavirus state and local fiscal recovery funds. As of June 30th, 2024, Cumberland County has obligated $39.45 million of these funds. Of that amount, $29.57 million has been expended on different projects. The purposes of these projects are public health, negative economic impacts, public sector capacity, infrastructure, and revenue replacement.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. I am Jackson Bryant. As Tara stated, there were several different categories in which we could expend the funds, and so I'm going to go in depth about the projects within those. So this section covers the various SOFR funds and the recipients to expend those dollars. So first we have public health. We had 4 projects: the COVID-19 vaccinations, COVID-19 testing, and medical expenses. These are expenses that the county already expended, so this acted as a reimbursement. And then the 4th project with small business assistance. The county commissioners approved 2 rounds of funding, which gave small businesses the opportunity to apply for grants up to $50,000. Special consideration was given to the businesses who employ low to moderate income individuals. This emphasis was to protect those vulnerable workers while stimulating growth within the economy. The second section is negative economic impacts. This section allows the county to provide support for individuals who are negatively impacted by the pandemic. Within this section, there have been 4 projects in various stages of completion. First, we have the Trade and Job Training Program with FTCC, otherwise known as the HOPE program. Students immerse themselves into skilled trade training, which allows them to aid in their understanding of their respective trades and increase their marketability in the workforce. We also have the County Internship Program, the Ignite Internship Program, which is open to high school, college, and recent college graduates. It is also a paid internship, so thank you for that. And then we have rental assistance. The county provided financial support for families who were impacted the most by COVID-19. This assistance included paying for rent and or utilities. And then lastly, we have Phoenix Place, and this is the county's supportive housing program for families of low to moderate income. And then our 4th category is public sector capacity. Currently, 100 jobs are being funded with this provision.
So I will be explaining the next 2 sections, the first one being infrastructure. Infrastructure is a critical part of ARP funding, and throughout the infrastructure projects, we want to enhance public services and promote health and economic development. The Grays Creek Water and Sewer Project establishes a community water system and will ensure clean water to the Grays Creek area. We also have the Broadband Expansion Project, which aims to expand internet access to rural areas. Providing these areas with internet access will bridge the digital divide and ensure access to online services and opportunities. This is being done by way of GREAT Grant and CAD Grant. Lastly, we have revenue replacement. In an effort to maintain essential services and recover from revenue loss, the county has allocated funds to cover the staffing and payroll costs of essential workers. With the provision of government services, the funds covered staffing and payroll costs of essential workers during the pandemic period.
Here we have included a snapshot of our progress on various programs. I have 3 projects listed where you can see the progress and exact numbers of financial allocation and people assisted. First, we have the COVID Small Business Assistance, which is 83% complete. 59 businesses have been served and 184 FTE positions have been retained. Then we have the Trade and Job Training Program, which is 24% complete. 346 students have been enrolled, and then we also included a link to FTCC's dashboard where you can see an updated report on their progress. For the internship, our inaugural cohort had 36 interns, 20 high school, and then 16 college interns. And then emergency rental assistance is 100% complete. 111 rents were paid and 35 utilities were paid. Approximately $480,000 was allocated for rental assistance and $20,000 for utilities. This bridged the gap for other grants for state and federal awards, which totaled to $11.6 million in rental assistance. We also have included hyperlinks in the report that will take you to the dashboard on the county's website. As of June 30th, 2024, we have spent approximately 51% of our ARP allocation. The largest of those projects were public sector workforce, in which $14.7 million was spent. Grays Creek Water and provision of government services, where $10 million were spent respectively. On page 26 in your book, you can have exact numbers spent on each project.
This is our community engagement section, which highlights the importance of aligning our projects with the priorities of our residents. We want to make it clear that these funds are for the people of Cumberland County, and so we've employed various ways to learn about their needs. First off, we have written feedback. Throughout written feedback, we'll utilize surveys and related documents to gather written feedback from the community. We also have oral feedback. It is also encouraged through our conducted community meetings, listening sessions, and stakeholder interviews. Lastly, digital campaigns are also in effect. Virtual meetings and online platforms often meet a broader audience and serves as an accessible space for input. The next two sections are labor practices and use of evidence. Labor practices consist of detailed information regarding our labor standards. Cumberland County recognizes that high standards of labor are essential to infrastructure projects, and so we ensure workforce practices are fair. In summary, the county has shown our commitment through a partnership with the FSU Hub. Additionally, ARP staff continues to participate in applicable trainings, such as the such as the minority participations programs and public contracting courses through the University of Chapel Hill School of Government. Staff regularly participates in ARPA office hours, which is led by Professor Kara Malonzi, Associate Dean for Research and Innovation at the UNC School of Government. The use of evidence section covers how the county gathers evidence to ensure the efficiency and effectiveness of our initiatives.
The report concludes with a glossary of the various projects, small businesses, and nonprofits that the county has funded over the course of the last 3 years, providing information about their formation and mission. And so this section allows you to get more of an in-depth analysis of the impact that these nonprofits are making in this community and the impact that these small businesses are contributing to the growth of the economy.
So on this side, you can see that we have included a further breakdown to show the juxtaposition of ARP projects to ARP-enabled projects. We have the small business recipients, the ARP-enabled projects, and the nonprofit recipients. The ARP-enabled projects are made possible through ARP General Fund freed up capacity.
So in conclusion, Commissioners, just want to orient you and those who are viewing. To access the report, you can go to cumberlandcountync.gov. You will notice on the main landing page, there is a tile that is labeled American Rescue Plan. If you click there, you will notice immediately at the top of the page, there is a hyperlink that says click here. You can click there and access the most current report, or you can actually go to the drop-down that's on the left-hand side of the screen and click on policies and reporting, and you can see all of the current report and the past reports. And so that is our presentation, and I just want to thank my interns for putting in so much work with this. And I'm just going to say that I wrote a lot of things, but the report would not have looked like this if they were not assisting with this. So I give them a lot of credit for that. But I'll take any questions that you may have.
Anybody? Commissioner Booth.
I got a little worried when this huge book came down here. It's easy to read, to follow. The organization's wonderful. And when you came up to say you can find additional information on the next 30 pages, I was about worried that you're going to read them to us. And I just already looked through all of them. So this is something you will pick up and read, but not if you've read it and then someone reads it to you again. So it was a wonderful, wonderful report. Did our print folks happen to do this in-house, or did
They
we
did.
do it? Wow. That,
But they put it together.
yeah, I understand.
I just
all
stood around, but they put it together.
A to Z, we used to have stuff that, well, no, I'm not gonna tell you what that was, mimeograph machine, but, you know, I mean, I used to like running the mimeograph machine just so you could smell all those chemicals and stuff. But anyway, great report.
Commissioner Booth,
Yeah.
she's a marketing major, and he's getting into cinema, and so that's why it looks that way, so.
It's eye-catching, the font's big enough for even old people like Jimmy and stuff. Excellent project.
I'll just tell you, I'm glad they're still in college, because they might be getting one of our seats here, so. Excellent report, thank you so very much. I think that, but I also want to thank the ARC committee led by Commissioner Keefe and Vice Chairwoman Stewart. Excellent job in terms of what we did and the fellow commissioners. I think we've touched about every sector of our community. You know, when we started on this, it was all about the American rescue. We went with the rescue part of taking care of our citizens, and you all made us look good because it's laid out easy for everybody to see. See, the press is right here, so the press is going to make sure that y'all make sure y'all give them the names now, so she can spell it right, because she's going to put it in City View, and y'all can use that when you get ready to go back to college to your professor and say, we presented before an elected board. Commissioner Stewart.
Thank you, Chairman Adams. I think this is a great way to think outside the box, because who would have thought to get someone who's majoring in cinema and also in marketing to work in the ARP department. Phenomenal, not trying to take anybody's job, but definitely great way to think outside the box to make something happen, to bring it to life, because this is the kind of information that you'll see on somebody's coffee table, not like the Bible, but like somebody's coffee table, right? Because it's so easy to read, and it's not, just for, type people, you know what I'm saying? So, a great idea. Might want to look into that. Might want to come back. Mr. Morales?
I like the pictures y'all.
Of course you do. Is there
About 5 or 6 of them, y'all know how to take care of the chairman. See, y'all already on this. All right, thank you all so very much. Thank you, Mr. Ball. Yeah, that was excellent. I tell everybody, the future is in good hands.
Absolutely.
And as you all go back to college, we wish you Godspeed on that, and look forward to, if you come back to Cumberland County next summer, hopefully you'll be in our program again. I hope y'all enjoy the internship program that we did here in the county. That will take us to the consideration of the agenda items, which is the license agreement for operation of Cafe at West Regional. Is that what we call it, Ms. Taylor? What we call it? Cafe West. All right, come on, Mr. Manager.
Ben Phillips, Library Director, will present this item and answer any questions you may have.
It's Cafe Grill. What you talking about?
No, sir.
Somebody over there.
Cafe Cumberland?
Cafe Cumberland. Okay.
You in rare folks.
I'm always in rare.
Good afternoon, Chairman. Good afternoon, Commissioners. So I am here today to request your approval for the Chairman's signature on a license agreement for operation of a cafe at our West Regional Library. This agreement is with Miller's Crew, a local nonprofit organization that operates a coffee shop on Morganton Road. Miller's Crew is dedicated to providing outcome-driven approaches to provide employment, training, and connections for youth and adults with special needs, their families and their caregivers, as well as community members. So Kim and Carl Molnar, and Carl is here today. Carl, if you want to stand up and just wave so everybody knows who you are, thank you. They are the driving forces behind Miller's Crew. They are longtime residents of our county and have devoted their careers to supporting the youth here. They began Miller's with a food truck and have since established a successful cafe that not only provides employment but also essential training and job development for young people with special needs. Miller's Crew's mission aligns perfectly with your strategic goal to enhance programs that offer job and workforce development opportunities for youth and adults with special needs. Currently, their Morganton Road location serves around 50 youth, with an additional at least 20 waiting for placement somewhere for job experience. The West Regional Library, on the screen here, was built in 2010-2011, includes a cafe space that has never been utilized. Here are some pictures of the space as it is now, so you can begin to visualize it as a cafe. So this would be kind of the entrance looking into it. So this is the lobby with the cafe entrance, and of course picture updated painting, pops of color on the walls, but you can see that this would be a great place for folks to be able to come, get a cup of coffee, get a beverage, get a smoothie, and then come and enjoy our facilities. So also there's a separate entrance for the West Library, which is right there. So this is looking from the cafe, and then this is our activity room. So it's right by our activity room where we have tons of events, where community groups meet. So it's a vibrant location for this. And just an aside, when we start working on the cafe, cleaning it up, getting it ready, we have tons of play groups that come to libraries, groups that meet with their kids. They ask every week if there's going to be a cafe, who's going to be operating it, who will it be, so they're very excited. And then this is another shot of the inside the cafe as it is now. This is a before picture. And I'll be very excited to come and show you after pictures if this is approved. So the agreement that you have in your packet would allow Miller's Crew to operate their coffee shop in the space at no charge. They would manage the cafe independently, employing young people with special needs who were paid and providing them with valuable job training and experience. The library would continue to cover utilities, janitorial services, and maintenance of the equipment as outlined in the agreement you have in your packet. This equipment was purchased with the funds in your fiscal year 2024 budget priorities for Cafe West. This partnership, if approved, promises significant benefits for both our library and our community. I will answer any questions that you may have.
I don't have any questions, but I will tell you, Faith, thank you so much for what you do, Mr. Manager and Commissioners. Tell you the genesis of this is that I went to Federal Disabilities, which is up at, they meet at Kiwanis, and I was there when they had a session. I keep going to all of those. Miss Jarvis, who runs that as though it's 100 people in the room when it's only 5 or 6, it doesn't really matter to her. But anyway, the day that I was there were those that were hearing impaired and deaf kids, and they said they go online and apply for a job, because nowadays you do it online. I know you don't understand that, but anyway. And they would get the job, but once they got there, they would say, once they found out they were deaf or whatever, that it was filled. So it just bothered me and visually impaired. So I went to Faith, who was down in the library, and said, look, can't we put some of these, can't we continue to do this at the library? And that's when she came up, and Commissioner Keith was probably here on this board, when they built Library West out there, and they had the vision to put this cafe in there. And she said that, hadn't been to all I had been to that library, but I never went out to the cafe. And Faith said, there's a cafe out there. And I'm saying, what? And so that was the genesis of the idea. She and I talked, and she put that plan together to be able to do that. We also employed some kids down at the library under the PAGE program. It is a belief of this board and this commissioner that every one of our citizens are important, no matter where your station in life is. And so, thank goodness, thank you for Miller's Brewing, Carl and your wife Kim, who, you learn all kinds of things. Kim worked in the school system and actually started this program in the Cumberland County school system, and there were cafes throughout the school system, and then she came over to do Miller's Brewing, and we've had a number of conversations. I've been up there. If you've never been up there, you ought to go up there and have some coffee. I know you like Starbucks and stuff, but go over to Miller's Brewing, and it will touch your heart, and talk to some of the kids that are up there. And so, they stepped in to be able to help us out with, we don't run cafes, we don't do that. And so thank goodness we've got people in the community who step up and meet the need that we have. And so I thank you all for doing that. it was going to be hardcore for us to be able to try to run a library and a cafe. So I would ask this board, and I know you had it in your packet, to be able to approve that agreement. If anybody else has any comments, I know that Commissioner Keefe, he and I met up there for coffee and had coffee up at Miller's Brewing. Mr. Manager, and
You left out that they make mean milkshakes too.
I didn't know that. Okay, I gotta go there and get me a milkshake. I was just doing the coffee. Lord have mercy. Commissioner Stewart.
I would be honored to make a motion to approve this.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded to approve the lease agreement for operation of Cafe Glen at West Regional. All those in favor?
That was not the motion. That was not the motion.
The Cafe at West Regional.
Yeah, that was my motion.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, the ayes have it, motion carries. Thank you all. Thank you. Did you want to say a word or two?
I'm good, thank you. I do appreciate the community support, not just for you guys, but obviously we wouldn't be where we were without Fayetteville, and their support would be, also appreciate you guys.
Thank you. All right.
You gotta watch it. You gotta watch it.
You're going to Cafe Jimmy, he's going to Cafe Glen.
That'll take us to the Government Services Center Parking Deck Capital Project, Mr. Manager.
Yes, Robin Deaver, Finance Director, Chief Financial Officer, will present this item. Before we start building the parking deck, we need the budget, the capital ordinance, and she'll go through particulars and answer any questions you may have.
Good afternoon, Chairman Adams and Commissioners. If you'll recall, at your November meeting, the board approved the Government Services Center Parking Deck project as a design-build project, and then the funding at that time was expected not to exceed $33 million. And then in March of 2024, the Commissioners approved Summit Creek as a design-build team. So our county engineer right now is planning to bring the Summit Creek contract to you for approval at our August 19th meeting. And as the county manager said, we need to establish our budget prior to that happening. So in response to your documents, you'll see a draft capital project budget ordinance. It's number 250559. The project is still currently slated not to exceed $33 million. The initial revenue source will be a $1 million transfer from the Capital Investment Fund, and that's just to get the project started. And then later, the Capital Investment Fund will be reimbursed by proceeds from a $33 million borrowing, and that has to have local government commission approval. The county plans to go to the LGC for debt financing approval in March of 2025 for this project, along with the Crown Event Center. So the first attachment in your packet is the budget ordinance, and you'll see the breakdown of the project by expenditure lines and funding. And then the second attachment is a declaration of official intent to reimburse expenditures. So the reason why you have that is that regulations over debt financing require that the county declare its intent to use debt financing before any expense can be incurred. And so that document basically is a resolution to show that intent. So this time I'm requesting the board to approve Capital Project Budget Ordinance B 250559 to establish the budget for the Government Services Center Parking Deck Capital Project in an amount not currently expected to exceed $33 million. And then also to approve the resolution of official intent to pursue tax-exempt financing and then later reimburse expenditures from the Capital Investment Fund through the proceeds of the borrowing.
Are there any questions? All right, so if I can get a motion to approve Capital Project Budget Ordinance number 250559 and the declaration of official intent to reimburse the expenditures.
Motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, the ayes have it, the motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
That will take us to the proposed state legislative goals. If we get up there to Forsyth County, if we can swim and get up there.
Good afternoon, Chairman and Commissioners. The North Carolina Association of County Commissioners conducts a legislative goals process every 2 years, and that's in preparation for the long session of the General Assembly. The first step is soliciting proposed goals from the counties. We have a deadline of August 23rd of submitting those. These proposals are reviewed by the steering committees, the Legislative Goals Committee, the Board of Directors, and then the final slate of those recommended goals will be voted on at the Legislative Goals Conference in November. So within your packet, you have some proposed goals for your consideration and feedback. In the area of environment, of course, clean water, supporting clean water and regulation of companies that have manufactured PFAS chemicals, scrap tires to increase the percentage of funding that counties receive from the scrap tire disposal tax, and also in line with what our landfills receive is supporting additional funding to assist local governments in managing electronics recycling. For public education, to increase capital funding and the percentage of lottery proceeds appropriated for school construction and facility needs. We're asking for increased recurring state funding for local public health departments. And that funding, we're asking to be flexible to meet the greatest local needs. Public health departments are also seeking additional recurring appropriations that can help them address public health interventions that address mental health crisis. And in public safety, we're facing tropical storm Debbie now, so there's a proposed request to increase funding for the Emergency Management Division of the North Carolina Department of Public Safety. Salaries have been impacted there by reduced federal funding, and we know that those positions are crucial with working with our local emergency management departments. And then we have this is a request we've put up there before that has not been selected. But we are still going to continue to, if you approve, to support establishing a per-call payment system for the volunteer fire departments that are responding to emergency calls on our interstate highways. They are doing that at their cost, and they're having increasing calls that they respond to.
I know this is ours, but will it get more traction if we just put those on the interstate highway? Because there are rural fire departments throughout North Carolina, and if we just try to do it to 95 and 295, other counties may not want to sign off on it. So if we do those interstate highways, I think it's much better than trying to identify the two that run by us, because I know all through I-40, all of these interstates, that is probably, if we can just, if that's okay with everybody.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I agree with that, but my fear is what they do historically is then they say they can't afford it, because then it goes from interstate with the blue shields to state roads to folks like Beaver Dam that don't have a road, so they start saying, what about my very rural county? And so I'm not going to vote on it. So they go, okay, well, basically every and then you can't, there's not enough money to dole out to every emergency fire department coming in there, so.
Well, here's the other thing too, on the interstates, and thank you for being persistent on this, because it's been going on a long time. If there's an accident out there, a lot of times it's a big accident. And if you get a volunteer fire department out there trying to turn an 18-wheeler back up on its side, and they can be out there for days, and with their volunteers. And this has been a constant thing going out. When we had the storms of Hurricane Matthew, you remember that all our volunteers, that they had to deal with the increase in people, and they became shelters and everything else too. So I think the other interstates, it's good to get some, put it on there. We got to start somewhere.
Yeah, I would keep, I love the interstate idea, because that's where the 18-wheelers doing 95 miles an hour on anything that ends in 95, end up flipping. And so, but I just have a feeling it tends, I know it's just occasionally, but it tends to water down as it goes through committee, then they say we can't afford to do it all, so we're not going to pick one or two to do it. So I love the interstate idea, but I I don't want just highways, or just roads.
So I'll tell you, it is, Commissioner Keith, you talk about it, but even for a minor accident, it's my understanding, if you get into that cone of where everybody is, you can't leave until the highway patrol lets you leave. And now we are short in terms of those rural fire departments having to even get back and do what they normally do. So,
Can I?
go ahead.
Yeah. But again, thank you for putting that on. Sally, on the environment, the clean water has been on there for a long, long time. What we've had to deal with PFAS in the last 8 years, has been increased, but a lot of the same terminology is the same thing. Recently, they just lowered the threshold of PFAS. We know that PFAS now has been discovered on Fort Liberty. Nobody knows where it is. Is this our wordsmithing, or is this a larger wordsmithing? Because we could really drill down on this and get support from everybody that's up and down Cape Fear River. It really needs to have a little bit more emphasis on it. I mean, it's a statewide issue. Is this our words or their words?
And I can work on that prior and have it submitted for the August 19th agenda, because this would come to you to pick up and strengthen this goal. And I will do that, and then it will be for your approval then.
And as Chairman Adams said earlier, we're not the only ones dealing with this, just like we're not the only ones dealing with interstate support. Is there outreach to other counties that are in similar situations to see if we can generate more support?
So they go through that process, that these are submitted through a portal, and then they go to the 7 steering committees within the association. There's an environmental and agricultural committee, and then they go from there, to the the steering committee, the board of directors, so it's like vetted 4 times before it even gets to the slate.
Okay.
The manager.
Commissioner Keith, I would recommend that we leave the language broad. Just recently at the Mayor's Coalition, we passed along information regarding the different levels of PFAS and PFOAs and everything. And right now we have 1, 2, 3, 4. We have like 4 different categories and 4 different levels. So I wouldn't want to limit it, and then we kind of put ourselves in a box. So I think it needs to be broad. And then, if anything, we may need to add Gen X onto it too.
Yeah, my only concern, and wisdom is great on that, and I can support that. My only concern is sometimes when we say the same thing time after time, it doesn't have the same emphasis that we may have had. A lot of our initiatives are annual. They keep going. They keep showing up on their thing, and we don't get anything. Capital funding for schools and such like that, public health. But just want to let them know that we're on top of it, and we're looking at the issue.
Okay. So I would tell you, 100 counties send these in. But I know Marshall sits on one of the committees, and so some of us here may want to sit on some of those state committees to be able to be in on the discussion. I know Rick and those do the attorneys, and they got the managers ones and the clerk ones, but I would tell you it's as we do it at the state, it's a delicate balance because you got 100 counties and some for, some against. So that's one of the reasons, Jimmy, some of it's a little broad. Because when you start, and that's why I took out the 95 and 295, when you start drilling down, you don't get the support of other counties to be able to do that. But on this one, I think as we do this, we need to start talking to Robinson County, Harnett County, all the way down to New Hanover, all of those, Columbus, and all of those who sit along the Cape Fear River, and all of these rivers with that. All right. All right, so those are the proposed state legislative goals for submission. And she's going to change that, but off of there. So if I can get a motion to approve the concept of those up underneath those large headings. If I can get a second. Second. It's been moved and second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, the ayes have it. The motion carries. Thank you, Ms. Sauer. That will take us to the policy for leasing county-owned property.
Rick Moorfield, County Attorney, will present this item.
Board members, you asked us at your last meeting, I guess in June now, to come up with a lease policy for as a guideline for the leasing that we do, and maybe get some consistency in it. I think the best way to start is I prepared a little spreadsheet there of what we currently are leasing, and I've broken it down by governmental units and special uses and business office uses because of the way the statutes read. But as you can see, we actually have 6 that are leased to other governmental units. One to, we probably didn't need more about, to the Federal Aviation Administration, one to the Department of Agriculture and Forestry. Those are both just towers, radio communication towers. There's not really any rent in them. The aviation one is necessary for the airport out there, and the Department of Agriculture, it was just a location that they've been using a long time, and it's a tower that we have on Bradford Avenue that there are other users of that tower too. The top 2 in there are Alliance Health, and you're very familiar with those 2 leases. They took over the DSS group home, which the DSS had been running for years, and that's for young, actually I guess minors. I mean, it's a facility for juveniles.
Oh, wait a minute. You mumbled. I don't even know what you said.
It's a juvenile.
Which one?
The top one, the Sally Hill Circle group home.
That's a crisis group home for children.
And then the Roxy Avenue, of course, that is the crisis inpatient mental health facility. And there's no lease for those. That was something that the board sought, and they accommodated, and it's working out. The state has an office space at the agricultural.
Okay, so we got all of these, all of this came in our packet, so you don't have to go down through them even. So what is, where are we at?
Well, if you just look at the proposed policy, I'm not sure what the board wants to do, but I just proposed a policy that complies with the statutory requirements, and we put some consistency into the way we do the leases.
Commissioner Keith.
Thanks. Rick, the inconsistencies that I think were brought up, even show up on the Excel spreadsheet, is the differences between price per square foot, amenities, and all that. And there was a second part to this request, is what county also is willing to pay for other leased properties that it's using. Because we identified early on that we're leasing county property for $2, $3, $4 a square foot, sometimes a little bit more, sometimes less. But we're renting property for county services from other locations for $20, $30 a square foot. So the ask was a consistent rental program that had to do with price per square foot, amenities included in that, and a policy on how we rent space and at what level. We get in trouble when we have this subjective sort of, whatever happens this time, we're renting places for $1 a year to some places, and we're renting others for $15 a square foot. Some of them include janitorial, some of them include landscaping, some of them include utilities, others don't. So I think that's what we were looking at. I mean, we got a list of what we have, but I'm not really sure what the recommendation is.
Well, and I will tell you, and not sending this back for us to have further discussion, but, you know, and I looked at it, and it's not necessarily what you did, Rick, but the issue that I have sometimes is what benefit it comes back to the county on. Whether they're saving us funds, if we had to do it ourselves, would it cost more to be able to do it ourselves as opposed to out and out lease? You know what I'm saying? You got the ones from the Health and Human Services, that's them. But then if you look at the Crisis Center, for them to run that, if we had to run it, it would cost us so much more than if we rented, if we gave them a fair rent and then they charged us to do it. So I guess that's kind of where I look at it is, what's the return on it for the county? Along with knowing, let's set a standard and then you can deviate from it. I don't want to get into the point that this is what we're charging everybody when it's different people in the ballgame.
And to your point, Mr. Chair, what you're talking about is the emotional, sometimes the emotional, unless there is an actuary that comes in that says, we're recommending this lower rent because we can show
That's right.
what they're doing. So many times, we get a great presentation and the tears start flowing and it's a dollar a year. It happened to us a couple of years ago, and without getting into names, we gave them this great deal and then they had a problem. They wanted us to pay for the fire that happened at their thing. And it turns out that there was a lot of inconsistency happening with the services they were providing.
We won't even talk about Cafe West, but go ahead. I'll tell you later. Go ahead. Yeah, but go ahead. It's a whole different ballgame. Go ahead.
Okay. Okay. My point is, the subjectivity is based upon somebody's feeling towards a certain nonprofit. If they can come with an actuary that says, this is what it's saving, otherwise, I think that there should be some baseline. And there should be some baseline about how we rent property too.
So go back, bring us another one. Thank you. All right, that would take us to the Cumberland County Community Development. Thanks, Rick, for doing that, though. I like the spreadsheet for all of that. Now, at least we know what we got, because we didn't even know what we got. I didn't know it was just that few. Because I missed it. Well, let me ask you one question. Rick, yes, sir. Don't we still do the one, and I didn't see it on here, don't we still do the one for the visitation, Mr. Manager, Heather, with DSS? That's not on here.
We read that. We read somebody else, and that was my
Well,
point.
then I guess we need to have what we rent too. Another table showing what we rent and what we're paying as we rent. We can bring that back. The man, what you doing?
We need to bring an intern in.
Cumberland County Community Development Block Grant. You want to go there and help out there?
So, good afternoon again, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. In April of 2003, the county entered into cooperation agreements with the towns of Spring Lake, Hope Mills, Eastover, Stedman, Wade, Falcon, Linden, and Godwin. The towns at the time indicated their desire to participate in the urban county designation. As many of you are aware, it allows the towns to receive federal entitlement funds through the Community Development Block Grant and Home Investment Partnership Programs, CDBG and HOME. The town subsequently in 2005, 2006, and 2015 adopted resolutions to continue in their cooperation agreements with the county. HUD has requested that for the upcoming urban county designation requalification, the county and the towns enter into amended cooperation agreements incorporating the revisions made after the amended agreement signed in 2005. The county attorney's office has worked to incorporate the original agreement and their various resolutions adopted by the towns over the past 21 years. And staff is requesting approval of the amended cooperation agreements and that this item be forwarded to the August 19, 2024 regular meeting as an item of consent and be signed by the chairman upon the board's authorization.
Any
Questions you may have?
Are there any questions? If not, I would ask to move that motion forward and put it on the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, the ayes have it. The motion carries. That will take us to our interns with the ARC committee Mr. Ty, committee recommendations.
So Commissioners, the American Rescue Plan Committee met earlier today and recommended the following item move forward to today's agenda. The item was consideration to transfer unobligated funding to public sector workforce, rehiring public sector staff, and the associated budget ordinance amendment B250626. The Board of Commissioners allocated a total of $15.7 million of the county's ARPA funding for affordable housing and sewer development in the Shaw Heights neighborhood. As we approach the December 31st, 2024 Treasury obligation deadline, it's no longer feasible to fund this project with the use of SLFRF funds. And to better leverage these funds, we are requesting that the board approve the reallocation of that $15.7 million to the public sector workforce project, and that this request, along with the budget ordinance, be forwarded to the August 19th regular Board of Commissioners meeting as an item of consent.
And the second item that the board approved,
That item,
you're going to bring that back? Okay.
there was another item to fund transceivers, but it's a sole source, and so we'll be processing that sole source through the regular channels, and it will come through as a memo from finance from Jessica Lunder, the finance and account manager.
Mr. Chair, I sit on that chair, but I appreciate this. Maybe it's a very good discussion. Motion we approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and second. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, the ayes have it. The motion carries, and we go to the consent agenda on that. The last item is the sponsor partnership of the 10th Annual Chemo Care Package Drive. Ms. Jones, Commissioner Jones.
Yes, I wanted to discuss this. What's happening is the Chisholm, I realize we don't do sponsorships, but however, I would like for the board to consider possibility putting in place in the near future perhaps some type of community health equity partnerships where that particular, where grant money can go, particularly for initiatives for our county. I'll be sending more information. I've been doing some research, and county commissioners in Franklin County, which is in Kentucky, they've done something very similar, which is where they've established, again, partnerships with their health department in other areas, and that money has to be used exclusively for individuals that want to apply, that are doing initiatives for their county. And again, the other information I will send to you. And if we had something like that in place, just using this example, this would be a good fit. The reason I was interested in possibility of us being some type of partner with this organization. Cancer is on the rise up to 20%. All the facts that I've been looking at come from the North Carolina Comprehensive Cancer Control Program, the North Carolina Education Department. And so it impacts many, 20% rise in Cumberland County in itself. And so I guess my concern is, just like in this initiative, this young lady was Dr. Lakeisha Chisholm. She has been putting together care packages for individuals that have to have treatment and don't have to actually attend Cape Fear. But this has been going on for 10 years out of her own money and just volunteers from the community. She has had no partners, and this is her first attempt to try to get partners for this to continue. And most of us, of course, serve on the board of trustees at Cape Fear Hospital. I did have a meeting with herself and the CEO, Mr. Mike Nagowski, and so he's looking into revenues for also, and he's given us recommendations where he felt it'd be a good idea too, because of the fact what's transpiring is when they make these care packages, again, off of completely just volunteer work, it comes with a lot of different healthcare type products in there. They're making over, I'm talking about over 10,000 packets. We're not talking about 1,000 packets for 10 years, and they're actually taking them to the Cape Fear Hospital, and then the Cape Fear Hospital, of course, which is in partnership, they're the ones distributing them out to cancer patients for the HIPAA laws and whatnot. With that being said...
Are they a nonprofit?
Yes, they are. They are a nonprofit.
I mean, I don't understand why they're not writing grants. We got a whole nonprofit through the ARP program that they could apply for, that everybody else in town applied for.
Can I finish my presentation, please?
Let me finish this right here. But we had a whole grant procedure to be able to do that, and in terms of those that are outside, in terms of trying to get grants. But go right ahead.
And thank you for that input now that I can finish my presentation.
You can.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
You will.
Can I finish, please? You're
Yes.
rude. Maybe you don't need to be, but you
Go
are.
ahead.
Thank you. This is my time. You've had yours. Like I was finished stating, like I was saying in reference to grants, they are moving forward to applying for certain grants, and I'm glad that he mentioned that because I don't get this just from their agency. Our departments are doing a great job, but many people, I mean, I know we feel like everyone knows about the grants that we're offering here in the county, which I think is important, again, for partnership. A lot of people honestly don't know about the ones that we're offering, and I don't think that's against our department, and we have to be able to have, since we are employed by the voters of Cumberland County, we have to be able to have these honest conversations to be able to get information out there. And it's not just her organization. She's a retired veteran, a CWO4, so of course she knows how to apply for grants. The Cancer City is a board too, but it's not about being just about the grants. As I stated, my initiative, they are doing it in other communities, and what I'm hearing from my constituents that put me in this chair that we all work for is that they would like to see, which is why I'm making this presentation, if we can discuss the opportunity of a possibility of having a community initiative, not just for cancer, but that was put in place. Now, I know this community is all about growth and about, there's 7 of us up here and ideas. That's why we vote. And if individuals don't want to vote for that idea, that's fine. But what I'm going to do as an elected official that works for the people, I'm going to bring things forth whether people want to hear it or not. That's why I'm sitting in the seat. I am here, and I have cancer patients that I have visited, and I'm going to be a voice for them. And if that offends anybody, so be it. So like I said, I'm bringing something forth. I've done the research, and with me doing the research, at a later date, I will bring all that as well, because the cancer patients that I serve for, I'm not talking about anybody else, when they ask me to bring something forth, that's what I'm going to do. They know about grants, and you can never have too many grants. And with that being said, like I said, there's things out there that other communities are doing. It doesn't have to be in the state. And we pride ourselves in Cumberland County on being open-minded to new ideas so that our county can grow, which is why, like I said, when I brought this forth, I have met with the CEO. He seems to be aboard, which I appreciate his support, of the Cape Fear Hospital, Mr. Mike Nagowski. And so they are also a partner on this particular program. They're a partner in reference to they can't be, everything's not about writing a check or a dollar. So they are a partner in saying, we support this because they understand the importance that cancer in our community is up by 20%, and we're not just talking about breast cancer. So with that being said, I would like for consideration, once I bring the information of the Board of 7 and the rest of us, to consider a possibility of a community initiative for programs such as this. Thank you.
That will take us to the other items, boards and commissions. Commissioner Jones.
Yes, and the next item on my, that also has been recommended to me from individuals that serve, we're speaking of I serve on the JCPC board, the Juvenile Council Prevention Council, and as many of you know, we're not the city. People say we can't work together, but I believe we can, and I think that it's important when people are giving their volunteer time. I know we get paid, but everyone doesn't get paid to sit on boards, so it's also been called to my attention. People were saying they like the idea of giving, a certificate. I know they provide that for the Human Relations Board when you first come aboard and they have to swear in an oath. It was discussed with the chairs of the Juvenile Council, Prevention Council. They were discussing the idea. They stated to me before I came aboard, that's something that they have also want to move forward and take in consideration that when individuals are given their time to serve on our county boards, that perhaps they can be given an appreciation certificate as well as a lab pen saying thank you for coming aboard. And again, from the constituents out in the community, these are just people that are serving on boards and that aren't, and that have asked me and have stated that the city, does something similar. They were liking to know if I could bring this about to see if we would be considered this as well. I think it helps bring the team around, doesn't cost that much to print out a certificate and to show people we appreciate their time, and also, just to say you're a part of the team.
And I will tell you, I served on JCPC for many years, as well as the library board and all of those. I think each one of, and even the ABC board, Commissioner Bush, you were there too, that each one of those boards do a recognition, they do a swearing in, they also do a certificate at the end, and with the number of boards and commissions, I think that as the liaisons, we can show up to those events and be there to present those at the end. So that would be where I was. Anybody else have any input?
I haven't been a liaison or been on one, but they didn't do it, and if they don't, then I think a simple letter from either our chair or our county manager just saying, make sure when these people come here, after dinner, leaving their families, or coming on weekend or something like that, that our print shop certainly has the capabilities of printing up a nice, attaboy, thank you very much for your time and service. So I didn't know there wasn't any board or committee that wasn't getting thank you. So
I think that the concern, well, if I'm correct, I don't know what they were doing before I came, but the JCPC, my understanding from the chair and the co-chair is they were wanting, and as we all know from the news, or some of you may or may not know, I guess there was some type of controversy in certain individuals in the city board or whatever board it was before my time that came, and they liked the idea, my understanding from constituents I had, it is your time, but people want to take it serious, that they liked the idea, I guess my understanding is with the Human Relations Board, how you have to be sworn in, like I guess to say the ethics, that you would take in consideration the ethics and you'll be in alignment with the policies and rules. Some are aware, I'm a little bit aware, I don't want to talk too much on that because I don't want to throw out unfacts, but I guess there was some discrepancy when a gentleman had sworn in or was on one of the Human Relations Board and he wasn't in the ethics, I guess, code or whatnot, and had to be released from the board. So they were liking the idea that it's just a reminder, although we're all grown, that when you're first initially, not at the ending, sworn in, there's some type of code of ethics that you can state for the reminder of you will be in the principle of alignment. And so, I don't know, maybe you all are saying at the ending, but my understanding is they were wanting this done in the beginning. I don't know about the ending and all that. I'm just here to do as I was asked to represent.
We would ask, I guess the easiest way is to ask the county attorney draft. It's the same one we read before FAMPO every time, that if you have a conflict that you're supposed to be able to do that. And we used to read that at Ms. Kings, we used to read that at JCPC, I think. And so it comes from the School of Government that can be read before each one of those to be able to do that. So.
And don't they still do that at the Human Relations? I thought I went to somebody's Human Relations and they were sworn in. I mean, I don't want to be Miss Sachs here, but I did go to somebody's Human Relations. Do they not do something similar? Can you speak on that?
I can address that because I did that at the City of Fayetteville. I worked with boards and commissions. The city only does their boards and commissions twice a year, so there's a huge orientation, and all the new appointments come to that orientation and take their oath. It's all across the board that they do that, so that's why there's so many at that time.
Yeah.
I didn't mean individual. Thank you, that's what I meant. They wanted to know, is there a way, thank you so much. It doesn't have to be individually, that the oath can be done. That's an excellent idea. That's why I stated in the way that they do it, the Human Services, again, we're not the city, but we can learn from one another. It does not have to be at different times. So what I'm asking and putting on the table.
Well, make a motion. That's the best way to do it.
Okay.
Not just put something on the table. You have to make a motion.
Well, thank you, then. Thank you for allowing me to do this the correct way. I appreciate that. I would like to make that motion that we take in consideration.
No, don't take in consideration, you want to make a motion to do it or not do it. If you just say consideration, we just consider it. It's according to what you want to do. I'm just trying to get your motion straight so that you know.
I would like to make a motion that we move forward with a new policy that all board members be able to take the oath in reference to, I guess, policy and procedures, that they will be in guidelines with those, and we put a policy in place. However, as you stated, Andre, I don't know if it's once a week or once a month, since it'll be new on this side of things.
There's a motion, not hearing a second, the motion dies. All right. Thank you. Commissioner Stewart.
Thank you.
I'm sorry.
My concern with that is we have boards that have time limits and things of that nature, and everybody is scattered. There's not a set time for members to come on or members to come off, so there's no way to logistically do that beforehand with the number of boards we have, and everybody coming off different term limits and things of that nature. I don't see logistically how that can happen.
I was, not have time to the city? I mean,
They do, but they only do their boards and commissions twice a year. We do ours every month. So that's the difference between the
That's right,
city and the
committees
county.
don't meet unless.
Yeah, they
unless
can't
we're-
spring.
if we can't figure out a way to do it, I thought we could, but, it's been voted down anyway, but, where there's a will, there's a way, but that's fine, thank you, I respect it though.
Question on monthly reports. Monthly reports, I got a question.
Okay, that takes us to the monthly reports. Which one you got a question?
Health insurance.
All right.
Robin, have you been here long enough to figure it out? No, the reason I'm asking is we finished up our fiscal year, and, being self-funded on our insurance, do we have to go into the general fund for our insurance, or did our insurance premiums cover for last fiscal year?
You need to come to a microphone if you're going to speak. You can get this one right here.
I'm sorry, I didn't realize. That's what the status of our health insurance program was.
I am not aware of us having to go for additional funds.
We have the numbers from July.
No, we do not. We have from June.
When we have it?
I would think.
Oh, I'm sorry, June, and the fiscal year of June. Do we have the numbers for June?
We do.
Okay. Could you see if we can figure out what the balance, if we are able to
Sure, I can
have
report
an
on that.
excess or it went into the account?
Okay,
All right.
If you just email that to all the commissioners.
I will do that.
that'd be great. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. All right, thank you.
Are you doing any grants? Grants up there?
Not unless you have a
I don't have
question.
anything.
Any other, as to the monthly reports? That will take us to number 6, which is, and for the commissioners you have in front of you, she had one, she went here. A declaration of the state of emergency within Cumberland County. As you understand, I've had a conversation with the manager. Actually, half of our board's probably supposed to be in Forsyth County near the end of this week, we may or may not be here. So, especially for precautions, is to, and I think we got Jean here who can give us an update of where that storm is heading. Last we saw, I think it was over near, I don't know how it's going to go, because it was over near Atlanta, but it's supposed to come back over Warren and come back up. And as we know, especially Commissioner Keith and I, when the hurricane came, we were saturated with rain for a week or 2 weeks prior, just like we are now. And then when it came through, it was just as much the rain as it was anything from the storm itself. And the flooding that was happening. Did see last night, and I found out it was actually their storm drain that was Spring Lake. I thought Mayor Anthony was flooded out because she did a Facebook Live, but then I texted her and found out it was because of their drainage system, which is a problem too, which creates flooding throughout. We have all of our, people think that all of our employees live right here in Cumberland County. They don't. They come from surrounding counties and all of those, and some of these back roads, and it's just like people run away from the storm. Oh, Commissioner Booth, I'm sorry. You were in South Carolina and came up. So,
Do you need a motion for this? Or
well,
just-
we're going to get a little bit on the floor, but then we'll do a motion. I'll tell you after that. Gene.
Good afternoon, Chairman, Commissioners. Thank you for inviting me to present to you. You were bringing up the Spring Lake issue yesterday, and, it's kind of eerie resemblance to 2016. A week and a half prior to Matthew, I was in Deerfield for street level flooding for the same thing. So And you're right, you mentioned how this storm, we've been tracking this storm for probably 2 weeks, and it has been all over the map, literally, as far as its track and where it's going. And it continues to do that from release or model run to model run. So this is the 11 o'clock track, and it's consistent with the 8 o'clock track as well. That brings the storm west of Fayetteville, which also brings the rain. As we know, on these tropical cyclone systems, the heavier rain and winds are on the east side of the circle.
I don't really care about Nova Scotia. There you go. There you go. New York, they need a flushing out anyway, so, but I can't see, is that the S stand for the storm, or is that
Yes. So yes, the S is at the center of the storm, and each of these blocks is a 12-hour period.
Thank you.
So you can see how these are all clustered together just off the South Carolina line in the Atlantic, where it's gathering warm air, warm water to continue to pump this water into South Carolina, North Carolina over the next few days. So please pardon the crudeness, this was being put together as the National Weather Service was presenting it right before we come into the meeting. Okay. All right, let's see if I can, there we go. So this is estimated total rainfalls. As you can see, central North Carolina, Sand Hills, coastal plain area, we're in that 12 to 16 inch rainfall.
Gene, is there any river issues?
Yeah, I'll get to that. So right now, the rivers are in fairly good shape, even though we've had a lot of rain. But as we get beyond this storm on Friday, as the storm exits, then we're going to be more concerned with, as those rivers, Little River, South River, Rockfish Creek, as those rise after the fact. We'll be watching those and monitoring those. Right now, our primary concern is flash flooding in areas around like Cross Creek, Rockfish Creek. One of our biggest issues during Matthew and Florence, and particularly Matthew, were dam breaches along the Rockfish Creek that created that flash flooding that impacted many homes, as well as part of animal control, sheriff's training in that area. So this is anticipated precipitation for today, anywhere in the 1.5 to 2 inch rainfall. Then we get into Wednesday, when we're looking around 4.5, maybe 5 inches of rain. These are estimates, of course. Thursday, again, these run from 8 a.m. each morning to 8 a.m. the following morning. For this is 8 a.m. Thursday through 8 a.m. Friday, another 4.5 inches of rain. Then we see it starting to taper off on Saturday.
Okay, Gene, so if I go back to my Hurricane Matthew math, we had a capacity of about 12 inches of rain in the flood before it starts not being absorbed. You're pretty much right on that with the 3 days. And those are accumulated days, right?
Yes,
Three
yes.
one day, four again, right?
Yes, sir.
So you're going to be right at that capacity of flooding, so the ground can only handle so much, right?
That is correct, and it's really going to be dependent in the time frame. So, we can say 4 inches in a 24-hour period, but does that 4 inches fall within 3 or 4 hours of that 24-hour period?
Sure.
And it doesn't allow that time, as much time for absorption, runoff, and that flash flooding will occur.
And again, going back to Matthew, if I remember right, beforehand, we had only had like 2 inches of capacity left when all that rain started coming, and that's what caused really all the flooding. So we're gonna probably be close to capacity at the end of this, right?
I think so. We are preparing for a very large-scale event. It's always better to be prepared than not be. We don't want to be behind the 8 ball in the process.
Okay, thank you.
So here's a total, a 7-day total. We're looking anywhere from 10 to 12 to 16 inches actually in some models over the next few days. So that's, we're currently in discussions of EOC operations, the declaration of emergency, shelter openings, and things such as that. So, you have any questions?
Commissioner Booth.
Are we anywhere closer to declaring some known standards unless you hear otherwise from us? People wait to find out where we're going to send them. And those places still aren't guaranteed to be fully operational, have generators, water, food, showers, all that stuff. And we kind of pick and choose. And we keep saying, we learned the last time, we're going to get this thing done now. And then what if people don't have radios, cell phones, computers, TV access, or anything? Where do they need? They need to know, go run in here, and if we do nothing else, we just send me or somebody out there to say, it's not here this time. But right now, everyone's just waiting to hear where they're supposed to go, and that's just not, that's not preparedness.
Well, we are being prepared, because what we're doing is, and that's why we're doing this today. This is, what's the day, Tuesday? All right. The brunt of the storm is supposed to be here probably Thursday-ish, late Thursday, Wednesday going to Thursday. So we're doing the state of emergency early, opening the EOC, getting ready for the shelters to be able to identify the shelters in advance. So we have learned, Mr. Manager, so, yeah, so.
Right after you approve the declaration this afternoon, the community will know what shelters will be open. We also have a call this afternoon at 3 o'clock with the other mayors and city managers, letting them know what our intentions are. I've spoken with both the city manager and the school superintendent about our intentions, and tomorrow we'll make an additional announcement about what we plan to do with our staff, the organization, and work hours. Additionally, I've also talked with both the judges in the building and let them know our intention, and let them know first thing in the morning, probably this afternoon, how we plan to move forward.
I understand, but the average person looking out here at this drizzle isn't thinking that they're about to see 4 foot of water come through their door, and when they suddenly see it, they can't get any answers, and here's where they jam everything up every single time this happens. They call 911. Now, they get 911, and their emergency is, where do I need to go? And that's not really an emergency except for to them right then. But we really should identify either churches, schools, some of our buildings we don't use, something. The EOC, that's where our people are going to be. Okay, they know where that is.
He's going to open the shelters. He's doing the shelters. I would tell you, where's Ms. Rice? If you look on what she sent out for the last all yesterday, all today, they're on it. I mean, they have started putting out on our app and press releases and radio, TV, all of those folk. They've already, PIO has really, I know you came in from South Carolina, but...
and we do this every time. Why don't we just declare Ty's House an emergency center, unless otherwise put out on our app and our this and stuff, not 24 to 48 hours before. I'm sorry, but not 24 to 48 hours beforehand, that's when we declare it. We just need to pick some spots based on our population, and we know it can flood because we still haven't cleaned up all those, the Rockfish Creek streams, they still have the same logs blocking everything.
And that's what they're going to do with the shelters. In terms of, I mean, that's, after we do this declaration of emergency, allows them to go ahead and identify those shelters. The EOC opens.
Now we can get something at the cafe. We declare the West Library as the place, unless you hear from us differently. We ought to go ahead and identify 5 or 6 of them that people can hunker down themselves if they want to go tonight and not wait until tonight and then 6 a.m. to hear that that's the right spot. I mean, that's the preparedness part, not identifying. Identifying if they have our app, our website, the newspaper.
I would tell you, it's easy for us to sit here and do that. Somebody's got to staff these things. That's the...
and we know where they were. We can leave stuff there.
Well, I think they got the generators and all of that in place, and I know that Phil Harris has already been contacted with Red Cross I think that in terms of the preparation, but I've talked to Mayor Colvin, told him that we were bringing this declaration of emergency today, because now, understand that ours is just the unincorporated areas, which is why we got to call at 3 o'clock with the mayors, because for those municipalities, they have to declare their own to be able to do that. So the governor's already declared a state of emergency. So you have in front of you the declaration of a state of emergency within Cumberland County due to impact of Tropical Storm Debbie. If I can get a motion to do that, I can sign off on that. You will see it will take place August 6th at the time indicated with the signature and should remain until 8 a.m. Saturday, August 10th, 2024.
So moved, or chairman to sign that.
Second.
It's been moved and second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed? The ayes have it. That motion carries. Thank you all so much. Is there any other business to come? We don't have a closed session or anything? All right, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So.
I need a second. All those in favor? All right. We'll adjourn.